Happy Tuesday. I'm excited. I'm always excited for some reason, Debbie. I like to get to be with you live on this lovely, beautiful morning. All those musics, I don't know about you, Debbie, but that music, but then right before that introduction started, just to give a chance for everyone to jump on, say hi in the comments. We were singing "Let's Go to the Ball Game" or "Let's
Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
We got to the show. And
I grew up on that. My parents were Dodgers LA Dodgers fans, and so we'd occasionally go to the ball game, and I always loved it because I like to see sports live. I don't really like to watch them on TV, but I'm all in when I'm there in person, and then it's awesome to get the peanuts and popcorn and Cracker Jacks, like the song says, because I'm of that era.
Right. I would agree, though, that sports are a lot funner to be in person. I don't know. It's just the experience, right? And the smells, the smell of the popcorn, the smell of the dirt, the smell of
exactly.
all the above. Anyways, I'm excited to see the inspiration you have for all of you that might have like ball game pictures, ball game memories. I wish you had pictures when you used to go with your parents. That would have been amazing.
I know it. I agree.
So much fun. But anyways, so Debbie's going to inspire us along those lines using the new Ballgame A La Carte that we released in February, just last month. It's crazy.
Is it just last month? It feels like a long time ago.
No, it's just March. It's end of March, at least 2 months ago. All right, we turn it over to you, Deb.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I see people hopping in from various places. So someone's here from Allen, Texas, Karen Frank. Hey, I'm in Wills Point, Texas, Karen. So I don't know how far away that is, but happy to be in the same state with you. And Susan asked me, a while back to do a baseball layout with the Ballgame A La Carte set. If you haven't seen it yet, it has a cleat, basically a baseball or sports shoe. And it has the cap, the hat, baseball hat, and it has a bat. And those are the 3 templates in the Ballgame A La Carte set, the new one. So she asked me, can you do a baseball layout? And of course, even though I went to baseball games as a child, I don't have any pictures for that. But I have 26 grandchildren right now. And my oldest daughter, who has 10 kids, has practically a baseball team in boys in her family. In fact, that was her husband's goal in life. He wanted a baseball team. He's a big baseball fan. So I knew if I contacted Amber that I would be able to get some pictures that I could use. And I did. She sent me some pictures of my grandson, Brigham. A lot of the boys have been in baseball, on baseball teams and such, Little League and that type of thing growing up. And these are of Brigham, one of them. And when she sent them, the pictures were from a distance. So that she was sitting in the bleachers trying to catch a picture of her son on the bases. So on the 4x6 picture I had, there was this little body sitting in the middle of it. So I thought, oh no, I don't know if I can use these or if they'll work. So what I ended up doing was pulling them up and zooming in to the part that I wanted and then cropping it. And I was able to print the pictures where I could get a good view of Brigham on the bases, which this is him up at bat and kind of going through the bases. And it made me really happy because sometimes the older pictures that I have are like that. They're more from a distance and it makes it a little bit harder, but it worked. I was so excited. Then the next thing I had to do was actually find some paper to use because I didn't have any paper that was baseball themed or stickers or anything like that that would go with a baseball theme. So I just looked through the paper I have. In the closet behind me is all my scrapbooking stuff, and I have baskets of paper. So there's one basket there, and I was flipping through it, and I found the set Boy Oh Boy by Carta Bella. It's probably old. I've had it for a while. I love Carta Bella. So I pulled that one out and I was able to use some of the papers, and I was so excited. It actually worked out really well. So, so this is what I'm going to kind of show you what I did, some of the little techniques that I used to dress it up a bit, and share with you a card that I made also. So I'm going to hold up the layout first. I always try to not make this backwards. So hopefully I'm doing it right. Yep. So I'm going to hold it up for a minute. Hopefully you can see all of that. And take a look at that Carta Bella paper, but I will pull it closer for you as we go through this. So the first thing I had to do was pick the paper, and out of the sheets that I had, there was this paper that had like a diamond shape. And I thought, awesome, that's kind of like bases. I know it's not the exact shape, but it had the feel of bases. Then I had this paper that had stars all over it, and that just seemed to scream sports, you know, for me, because they're all stars. I have all these grandkids that play baseball in different sports, and they're all stars in my eye, but I thought that would work with the theme. And then I had this polka dot paper, like they had this strip of that like that. So it was this gold paper with just white or cream white polka dots. And immediately I thought, what if I could turn these polka dots into baseballs? So I did, and it worked. I was so excited. So all I did, and I'll turn it this way, was take a pen and just mark a curve on either side like that. I didn't even do it neat. I thought, oh, I blew that one, but they all worked out in the end. So I'll put that a little bit closer for you, and you can see that just by drawing those lines on the polka dots, it added to the theme of baseball, and I was really happy with that. And then I needed to create the borders, and for the border, I actually ended up picking Cliffhanger, which has the 2 pieces. And this was from our June 2020 Kiwi Club. And if you don't have that set, then you can use any other border you want, whatever one fits right there, and you can layer on or add things to. It doesn't matter. This layout would have worked with other borders too. But I chose Cliffhanger because it had the feel, again, of a base, one part of it anyway. And I thought that would add to the feeling of this baseball layout. And then the only other thing I used was strips. I used 2-inch strips and 1/2-inch strips to go along with it. And I want to show you, I did do some adjusting on Cliffhanger. So this lines up here, but I wanted it bigger. So I just cut my line further out when I went to cut it. So I have that feel of it, and it fills up the space that I wanted it to fill up and gives more of an impact on the page. And then I just did the 1/2-inch strip and kind of the 2-inch strip of the other one. And it was so simple, but it worked so well. And then the other half of Cliffhanger, I used on this side, and you'll see that I ended up cutting it way down. So I extended the other one, and I made this one much smaller because that's the room I had, and it fit. That's what fit what I was trying to do up there. So you can adjust your templates however you like to fit the space and the design and the feel that you want for your layout. Just checking comments real quick. I think everything is good. Yes, Jennifer Budge, you may scrap lift this for Noah. That works. Okay, so once I got my basic borders done with these cute papers, I just had to choose the pictures. I had already chosen them. These were the ones that I ended up using. They were all 4x6, and normally you can put 3 4x6 across the page like that because it's 12 inches. But I wanted all 4 of these. So I cut these down. These are just, I cut them down so that all 4 would fit in, and that worked really well for me. It gives kind of a sequence of, you know, him getting at base and then getting ready and then actually taking off. And I liked that sequence. And then the other 2 pictures on the layout were when he went up to bat for this particular run he made, and then him in the car after the game. So that's Brigham. Cute. My kids are cute. All right, so after that, I just wanted to start embellishing and using the Ballgame a la carte items and others. I chose to use rings because, you know, shape of a ball. And so I added rings here and also at the top. And I just cut one and then cut it apart and then tucked it in. You know, it was super easy to do. And then I decided to start working on the baseballs. So I had a lot of fun making these baseballs. If you haven't tried this yet, go ahead and give that a try. You can make baseballs. Actually, drop my ring. You can make circles. Rings 1, you know, has a big enough circle that you can make baseballs out of. So you would just trace some of those out. I actually had a 1-inch punch that I ended up using, but you can use. I've used both for things like that before. So what I did, if you want to take a closer look at those baseballs right there, can you see those? So I'd seen others do kind of this stitching look on the baseballs and thought that's adorable. So I wanted to try that for my layout also. So what I did, and I'm going to show you how I did it with this. So I punched out or cut out just one circle. I actually cut out 2. And when I had my 2 circles, I used one of them to be the template for the tracing so that I would get the same curve and the same angle on each of these. So I started with 2. I overlapped it as far as I wanted to go, and then I traced. And that's what you see after I traced it. And then I put the other one on the other side, and I traced again. And so now you have the look that is on the polka dots. That's kind of what the polka dots look like. But I wanted to add the stitching. And so I just made little V's along each of those curved lines. I just took my black pen. I just used one I have, which is just a Stettler, it says. And then I made V's. So I would go to the line and do a little V, a little V, a little V, making sure I did the same number on both sides because that's me. I like things symmetrical. So, and this turned out so much, it was so easy and it turned out so cute. So you just start with a couple of them, overlap, trace, and add the V's, and that gives you your baseballs. It was fun, super easy to do. So I added those 2 baseballs down the bottom here. I decided to use in that area the duffel a la carte because, you know, sports bag, people go to play sports and they usually have a bag either full of baseballs or bats or clothes or cleats or towels or water bottles and stuff. So I thought that that would work really well. And when I did the duffel a la carte, I cut the whole thing out, and then I cut a different paper out of the strap that kind of goes around the bag. And I wanted to kind of dress up the handle itself. And so I used some washi tape to do that. So you can see where I just cut it out of that star paper to kind of pull that color and pattern down. And then I cut again. So when I cut this out, I just traced the template and then traced in between and then just cut it out without the bumps or anything. So then I traced that and just kind of joined. I traced this part, joined it down to this part. You can do that pretty easily. Added some stitching look and then used washi tape to wrap the handle with. And I think it gave it more character. You'll see the other thing I have at the bottom in this grouping is the other template, the cleat or the baseball shoe. Can you see that? And I like to, you know, you can use it just as is. You can cut it out and use it just as is, or you can dress it up a bit, and I tend to like to do that. So I wanted to show you how I did it. Let me show you again the one I did, a little closer. And what I did on here was cut it out and add a black cleat layer, and then some back in here, and I'll show you how I did that. And then I just added some string for like shoelaces. It was so easy. It was fun. But this is how I did it. So I took the template and I just traced the shoe part, not the cleat part. So down here where there are the ins and outs, when I got there, I didn't bother tracing this one with all those bumps. I just traced in between the bumps, which gave me a cutting line. So I traced this part first, and then I put the template back on. See if I can match that so you can see how far up I went. I put it back on and I just traced the bottom, just coming up the sides a little bit so that I would be able to tuck it behind and give something to tape with, you know, to put the adhesive on. So I cut the bottom, but then I also wanted to give some depth and dimension at the top here, like a place to put your foot in, so that it gave that that feel. So I then just went like that and traced some of that off, if you can see that. And I tucked it behind when I put it together, and I just took my scissors and trimmed it down to look like what I want. It gave me the initial curve, and I just kind of trimmed off the little bits that I didn't want. And gosh, actually this turned out cute. You can put some shoelaces, or if you want it to have girls, you can dress it up. You can put some alphabet stickers on there for a team name. Anything that you want to do, you can do. But that was super fun. Let me check questions real quick before we go on. Thank you everyone for your kind comments. It was a fun layout to do. Oh, and Grindelia has 3 girls who played tennis, volleyball, softball, co-ed baseball, and soccer. So she's got a lot of uses for this set. Lots of baseball pictures. That's awesome. Okay, so no questions on anything. I tried to be clear. So that became the bottom kind of grouping, and I added the ring one just to pull that feel of rings or balls, you know, the circle feel that was coming in. So that turned out really cute. At the top, then I wanted to do the baseball hat and the bats. And I did the same thing with the hat that I did with the baseball shoes or the cleat. I just cut out this one, and then I cut the parts that I wanted sticking out. It's just black, but it pops it a little bit more. So I cut out the first one, and then I went through and traced a little more like I did with the yellow part of the cleat part of the shoe. And then I tucked it under and trimmed up the edges. And I did the same thing for the top. I just wanted a little edge on the top and a little edge on the bottom that it would pop and stand out a little more, kind of like inking in a way, I guess. So that was super easy. And then the bats here are just this bat template. It's beautiful on its own. And I just cut 2 of them. But I like texture and kind of fun things on it. So on the bat handles, I used some more of that washi tape, and I just wrapped it around the handle. And then I also used some just, you know, cotton thread that I have for the other one. So it gave it kind of 2 different looks, but kind of brought the bats to life, I think. I liked that. So on this side, I used the same feel for the bats. I did the same thing with the washi tape and the string, but I kind of emphasized the star quality about this by popping a star in and just backing it a little bit and having that ring. And that gives the feel of the balls and the bats and the stars and the bases. So that kind of rounded out the feeling that I was trying to go for. These pictures I used I just wanted a little tab. So I used Honey Charmed 3 and then put his name and Boise. And on the hat, I actually put the initials of the club they were in, SWA. So that is the layout. It was fun to do, really fun to do. And I'll give you, let's see if I can get this right again. One more look at the whole thing. If you have any questions on any of that, go ahead and ask them. I want to show you one other thing that I did on a card before. So I did make one card with it, and I used this basically the same techniques, except one new one that I wanted to share with you. Oh gosh, Linda Hansen said, if you cut the round part off the hat, you get a visor. What a great idea. That is a great idea. I also saw some people turning the cleats or the shoes into like ice skating shoes, and I'm pretty sure I want to do a layout another time with golf. I have golf pictures of grandkids golfing and kids golfing, but I just haven't had time to do that yet. So maybe someone else can do it and I can scrap lift yours. That would be fun. Okay, I did one card. It just follows the exact same theme. It's same paper, same kind of design. I didn't draw the lines for the polka dots on this one, but I made the 2 baseballs and the 2 bats, did the washi tape and the string, but I printed right on the bat. And I printed off the printable that was included later for this set that's on the blog. If you want to find it, actually, when I do the write-up for the blog, I'll include the link to it. And the pictures, I'll put pictures of everything I've showed you so you could go back and look at that again. But they did do a printable, which I printed off. My computer is, my printer is low on obviously red ink, but I thought this would be perfect that I could print onto my bat. And I just wanted to show you how I do that. I've been doing it for years, and a lot of you may already know this, but just in case somebody doesn't know how easy that is to do, I wanted to go over that with you. So the first thing I do with the printable is I just print it off on paper. I don't print it off on fancy paper or cardstock or anything. And then I go ahead and trace the template around what I want it to print on. So I just put the bat on, traced it around the wording, made sure it would fit within the template size. So I kind of placed it where I wanted it. That was the first step. And then after you've done that, all you have to do is take a piece of the paper that you want to print on, you want the bat out of, like this, and then you just make sure you're covering the whole thing. So what I do is put some adhesive on the back and tape it right over. You probably can't see that well. Tape it right over the bat on the same paper that I used to print it off initially. And then this goes back through the printer again the same way. And when you do that with it taped down, what happens is it prints again the same way, so you can see the double printing on it, and it prints right where it did before, but now it's printing on your cardstock. So after that, all you have to do is trace around with your template again, and you end up with the printing right on your bat. So it worked well. And this a simple card, but it was fun to do that and create this. I want to check questions. Can you show us the baseballs closer to see your stitching? Yes. Hold on, Linda. Off the card would be easier. I'm afraid it's blurry on your end, but they're V's. That's all I did was draw a V. I'll try this one in case you see better on the layout itself. Let me know if that worked for you, Linda. Can you see the V's? Okay, so Linda, can you share where the printables are for our new viewers? I'll share how I found it, and it should work for anybody. And again, when I do send pictures over for the blog post that they're going to do about this, I'll put the link in there right to the printable. But all I went on is kiwilane.com. There's a little search, but it's like a magnifying glass, and you just have to click on search and type in printables, add the S. And when you do that, any printables or articles that include printables will come up. And you'll see the Ballgame blog post, the Ballgame A La Carte blog post. And if you click on that, the link is right inside that. Again, I will put the link directly into the blog post so that that's easier for you to find later. Yeah, Linda, I just tape it right over. So I put the printable, I print the printable off first. I trace on the template that I want, just so I know where to place the paper that I want it to eventually print on. And then I put it back through the same way so that it prints the same way. How I determine that is I usually put a little X when I print it, so I know if it had to go down or up when it goes in front or back. So I make sure that I'm putting the paper back in the right way. And once I know that, all I have to do is add the paper I want it to print on top of the part that was already printed and traced around. And then it's perfect. I'll take that off, trace the back again, cut it out, and then it goes right on the card. Super easy, but I've been doing that for years and it works every time. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, let's check questions. Can you show us the baseballs? Already did that. Printables. And Linda, do you have a preference about the tape you use on it? I'm assuming you mean on the paper to go through the printer. I just use the same tape. This is what I use. A lot of you use that. And I just put a couple of things on. You can tape it down really good if you want, but mine is just the couple of pieces and it worked in my printer. This paper, you know, some printers don't like thick paper, but mine had no trouble. It's just an HP printer, had no trouble going through here multiple times. So. All right, well, that is all I have for you today. I will be sending pictures of this and pictures of the steps over to the gals who do the blog for us and put all the details in there, list the templates out and everything. And I'll check on comments later today to see if anyone else has any other questions. If they do, I'll hop in there and answer them. I hope you've enjoyed it. It was really fun. I'm happy to have this memory saved in my scrapbook and of something important to my daughter's family. And I just want to encourage you, we've got a beautiful week ahead of us. I want to encourage you to keep playing, creating, and connecting, especially as Easter is coming up this weekend. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.